Morning and welcome back to the channel. Steve here from the Home Renovation Experts. Today is a whole new job, a whole new start, and a fresh new cup of tea. That's right, it's a decorating day today. So, be some top tips and all that kind of stuff coming at you. This is the room in question. Currently over in Sunningdale, very, very nice area. This is a beautiful flat for repeat customers. So I like to keep my customers. If I find nice ones, I just like to keep them going. So basically, full prep of the walls, ceilings, woodwork. Obviously ceilings going back in white. The walls are going in a bespoke colour. So here's the first top tip. So this place we originally done, I think it's about 12 months ago. So we did the hallway, which was then led into like the lounge and the kitchen area and stuff like that. But they had a particular colour they wanted. So it doesn't matter if you want, say you want Farrell and Ball, or you want, I don't know, the Elephant Company, whatever they're called now, all these different brands. If you want their colours in a different brand, so I will always personally provide Dulux paint just because I've been using it for donkey's years. I love it. It's expensive, but it's not as expensive as Farrell and Ball, but I know I'm getting a quality product every time. Personal opinion, don't shoot me. But you can get your colour cards sort of tested. So if you take the colour cards from those other companies, take them to Dulux, they'll scan it and give you an exact match. But the same applies if you've got this colour of curtain, you've got a bit of fabric kicking around. Take it down, take it with you, and then we'll colour match that and give you a colour that is perfect to that. Not just one that they've already got on their system. The system will colour match it perfectly to that colour, and it'll be bespoke to you. So what we've done was we colour matched out there. So I've gone into Dulux with the colour code it gives you, and then I've managed to pick up the exact replica as well. So they keep that stuff on file. So if you need it a bit further down the line, it's still there for you. So yeah, as long as you keep a note of the code that they give you, job done. So that's what we're doing. We're going to be bringing these ones up in diamond eggshell. So when you're looking at paints, especially for like Dulux, obviously you get like the normal matte, vinyl matte, and you kind of go up from there to like diamond matte. You got satin, you got silk. These guys wanted something extremely hard wearing, so they've gone for eggshell, which looks lovely. So it's a sort of semi-sheen, but because it's a diamond range, eggshell's hard and tough enough as it is, but this means literally the stuff is scrubbable. So if you spill something on it, you can wipe it, you can scrub it, you can get rid of that mark, and it will not damage the paint. So industrial, and it's bloody expensive, but it's bloody good as well. So that's what I'm doing. I had a chat with the client already this morning. So when you're going to be decorating the room, obviously, you know, if you want to keep these little bits and pieces, stuff staying in the same place or not. So everything's staying, so I haven't got to take those out and make them good. So basically I'll run around, do prepping. So I'm going to use the trusty palm sander because these walls are not in bad condition at all. So get everything sheeted up. I'm going to leave the bed in the middle. I can work around that, sheet up everything else. Run around with a palm sander, give it all nice, good keying, nice rub. Double check to see whether it needs like filling in places. There's a few little cracks and stuff you can see. Now, two ways of handling these sort of cracks. They are kind of repeat cracks because it's above the door, so there'll be like a support here. You're always likely to get little cracks there. So the best way to do it is either you can chuck in some fine surface filler, which is fine, it will crack again, or you can go the other end and go for some decorator's caulk, which is like got very slight expansion in it, so it kind of sit in a crack. Excuse me, slight cold, and just kind of expand and contract. But what I found now, along the same lines, but I'll kind of change it up a little bit, is I'll put in something like No More Nails. Because although the decorator's caulk has got the ability to expand and contract a little bit, this stuff, because it is an adhesive, when it's put it into the crack, it'll bond those two sides together, which then means when they try to separate, it really can't do much and go too far, because as you can see, it is only a teeny tiny little crack. That's not a big crack, it's not going to force on the adhesive much at all. So I'm going to put that in those joints, and then just double check, make sure everything else is okay, and then it will also be decorator's caulk and any cracks, leading edges down the woodwork and that sort of stuff around the top of the skirtings. Basically, it's a prepping morning, followed by then getting some paint out and painting the ceiling and possibly the walls as well. But I'll show you how to go about painting your ceilings, how to go about painting your walls, okay? This makes a full tutorial. So right, I'm gonna finish that cup of tea, get set up, and I'll be back. So sheeting up sounds quite straightforward because it is, but if you've got the space to pull out all your big furniture and stick it in a hallway or another bedroom, brilliant, perfect. It will make life a little bit easier. But if you haven't, don't sweat it, right? Just pull the bed into a position where you can still pretty much get access to stuff. And if that isn't possible, then you just have to move it a little bit from left to right, but not the end of the world. So obviously I've rotated it from this little angle here to over there. So the headboard is up against the 2 units. I can still get access to that bit of wall. I can still get access to cutting above the bed. So I know the bed is now set. It won't have to move during the process. Sheet up the sides, obviously on the floor. And the other thing that I always recommend is just like the room you're decorating, just as you kind of come into the hallway. There you go. There's just a bit of extra sheeting out there. So as I'm sort of trespassing? No, I've been invited. I have been invited. As you're kind of transitioning, is the word I was looking for. If you've got like a bit of paint on your foot or whatever, you can kind of come out. You're not going to then like disperse it onto the carpet. You always check your shoes anyway. But again, it's just a bit of over engineering. Just covers you. Why not do it? So yeah, so a little way I can come in, walk in, and I'm straight into my zone. So what I'll do now is, I've done a little bit of decorator's caulk in some gaps and cracks before I got this lot done. So mostly like the corners of skirtings and stuff like that where they kind of opened up. And around the window, I don't know why they did this. Check this out. It's a lovely finish. Can you see that? I mean, why? And not only why, but look at what there's a gap. Why? So, not the best finish, but that's not part of what I'm here for. But it had silicone all the way across this joint. It was poking up and jigging out everywhere. So I've gotten rid of it as much as I can. And then what I'll do in a minute is I'll give it a rub over with a bit of black scratch, which I'll show you, just to get rid of any residual like parts of it. And then that way I can then paint right up to the edge and it won't zing up and won't look crap. So it makes it as neat as possible. Obviously there's a lot of fitted units in here, which I'm not shifting. Even this one, screwed to the wall, so that's staying exactly where it is. So it's gonna be cutting around that. So yeah, cup of tea's done. Might have to make another one in a second. So I'm gonna go get some materials and some bits and pieces, and then I'll come back up again. Hello, and welcome back to Home Renovation Experts. Steve here. So, we've all done it, we've all had it. You kind of walk down the stairs, and it turns out you catch a little bit of lip on this, and you tear it off, and you end up with like a few bits and pieces, just like that, which you don't really want. So, how do you repair it? A couple of ways, and this is my favourite way. So first of all, I position these back on there, just to make sure which bit is going where, so that I've got a rough idea about what's what. So there you can see that definitely goes on the top like that, and then one will go underneath it. So what I do then is scratch the back of my head because I'm itchy. I will then take Mitre Fast, or I'm not brand supporting here, it's just it happened to be the one that was on sale at Screwfix and they had it in stock. So that along with the glue. So basically it's super glue. So I'll put that on the actual joint, on that bit of wood there. Then I'll bring my 2 pieces of little baby wood, which is just over here. That's the way they're facing. So that's face up, so I'll turn them over, spray the activator on the back, and then push it into place. And I'm gonna try and do this on camera. Let's see how it goes. So basically, just gonna put that in the joint where both bits need to go. Like I say, it's basically super glue. Make sure it's going right into the joints where I'm gonna need it. Okay, looking nice. Done. Happy days. And what I'll do now is, and then the top bit is the first bit I want to start with. So, give it a spray. Get it positioned, lined up. Push it on quickly where I know it needs to go. Just pin it, hold it. And this mitre stuff is bloody brilliant stuff. So that's got that already. Done and dusted. Do the same for this bit. And it'll now go on to there like so. Give it a good old push, make sure it's staying where it needs to stay. Like I say, give it a couple of seconds to kind of do its thing. And that's it. That is it officially glued in, and that is never going anywhere because that stuff holds it like a mother. Now, when it comes to these little joints and bits and pieces here, I'm going to use a thing called beeswax, which is like a hard wax, but it'll come in, I've got some in a van, it kind of has different shades of colours as it runs through, so I can pick the one that's closest to this handrail, and you literally just take a bit off, get it moving in your hand a little bit, and then rub it in. Or alternatively, if you've got a close enough colour, you can just like rub the edge of it in there. But I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Like I say, that's set. I'm gonna let it harden off, go for do another little job I've got to do in here, and then I'll come back and show you me finishing that. Right, so I've got the wax. So this is stuff that I managed to get hold of. Briar wax, filler sticks, And basically, so in this packet, you're like 4 different colours, plus a little applicator, which I won't use. But there you go, that's what it is. Quite hard, but brilliant stuff. So all I need to do now is just have colour done a little bit. So literally, I'm just going to wipe it against the grain, just to fill up the gap. Please mind the gap. So I'm just going to force that in there. I'm going to do that all the way around the joint. Just making sure I work it right in. And as you rub it, it doesn't melt, but it becomes a bit more pliable. And like that, you can see it kind of filling in the hole now. And then, once I'm kind of happy, so you can see it now. Not too sure if I sharpen it up, let's just see, there we go. So there you go, that's not looking too bad at all. And then, what I'll do, actually, I'm just gonna do this little corner bit as well. Seeing as I'm here, rub that in there like that. Right, and then what I'm gonna do is grab some black scratch. So here's the black scratch I was talking about. So it's just furniture scratch basically, so it gets around like your posts and stuff like that. Brilliant, brilliant gear. So all I'm gonna do now is just give it a little light rub, just to remove the wax where it doesn't need to be. And that's basically it. How nice is that? Doesn't take long. So what I'll do is I'll give it a fine little lick over this. I'm going to go and get a bit more wax. There's a tiny little joint. I don't know if you can see it. Just there. So I'm going to just fill that little bit. But apart from that, that is how you do it. It's simple as that. And then when I've kind of rubbed it, if this looks a bit duller, because obviously I've been scratching it up a little bit, I'll just get a very light piece of varnish. Just lick that one piece over. Done and dusted. And that's how you repair a bit of wooden damage to your woodwork. Filling. Here's a good one, right? So if you're after some pre-knocked up stuff, polyfiller, all purpose.
What can I do for you?
Lovely gear. Not much unless you can teach me how to like fill. Honestly, hang on.
I didn't
get that. So that stuff is brilliant, easy peasy. Right, and then what we got up here, you can just see there's a pop on one of the nails up here. So what you want to do is get your finger, nice, and just want to wet it up a bit of saliva. Now the reason you're doing that is because obviously the filler has got like water compound in it, because obviously it's filler and it's ready to go. But if I put that straight onto it as it was, the plaster, the bare plaster, would pull the moisture straight out of the filler and it potentially crack again. So by making it wet, you're satisfying the bare plaster and it won't pull all the moisture out of the filler. And then when you do fill, you want to go in one direction, another direction, because you want to get pushed up against all the edges, so it's like right on there. And then when you kind of give it like, thicken it up a little bit there, and then go from the centre out, the centre out, and that is it, perfectly done. Now the reason you go from the centre to the centre is, if this is your hole, and you just drag from this side all the way across to there, when you pull from this side, you can just put it away from this edge a little bit. So if I go from the centre to the edge, and the centre to the edge, you're actually leaving it beautifully just lined up on there. It'll make sense when you get around to doing it, but that is the way to do it. So wet it up, put the filler in multiple directions just to make sure it's definitely filled, and then just pull from the centre out, and that is perfect. Let that dry, give it a light rub, good to go. Right, so now on to cutting in. 3-inch brush, perfect. You can of course go for like an inch or 2 inch, but that's just wrong. So a 3-inch one is what you need. Anything less than that, you're just kind of taking a lot of extra time. Because it's not just painting the ceiling, but painting the walls. What you're gonna do is, you're gonna basically blitz just onto the wall line a little bit. So just a little bit load up, you don't need a ton. And then literally, I'll bring it a bit closer. You're just gonna lip over onto the wall like that. Absolutely beautiful. Lay it off. It's cut. And again, a little bit on there. Literally bring it to the corner, lift it onto the wall a little bit. Perfect. Tip is, don't leave any big build-ups here, okay? So it doesn't matter, if you see that the way it is, nice and flush, great. What you don't want to do is kind of leave stuff like that, okay? That's a no-no. So just lip it on. If you do get a bit like that, just wipe off the excess, and that is it. Now, the reason why you bring it down just a little bit is so that when I cut the wall colour in, it's got a coat on there, which is nice, leading into it, and I just simply take the wall colour and I just cut neatly across there. Whereas if I cut this tight to the wall, first it's a waste of time because you're going to be painting the walls anyway, and the second thing is that you may end up with white right to the very edge, and then when you cut your wall colour in, it might not quite get there. This is just, it's the way you do it, it's the way the professionals do it. I know, I've been decorating for 26 years, so kind of know what I'm talking about. So bring it down, I'll wing that all the way around. When you cut around spots, not the same thing because you don't want to hit them. Literally, as it comes around, you'll see it just nice and neat around there. Laying it off. Again, you don't want to leave any big build-ups as you're going. Okay, so I'm on my nice brand new steps, which I just bought this morning. Oh yeah, quality. Very happy with these. And just cutting in. So if I get a bit closer, you might be able to see. I'll turn the light off. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to jump down, turn the light off, and I'll show you me cutting in because it'll be interesting. I think you'll understand more how to use the brush as well. So give me a second. I'll do the next one. Right, there you go. There's a light. So I try not to get in the way too much. Right, easy. So you can now sort of see how I'm just using the tip of the brush just to tickle around the outside of it, like that. So not hitting the light and just getting the paint right next to it though. So I don't have to mask up, none of that stuff. Again, you kind of get a feel for this as you kind of go. All the way around the outside. Get rid of the overlap. And that is it, beautifully cut in. Simples. Right, time for some cutting in. So you can see I've already started. So that is the chosen wall colour. So this is going to match, like I said earlier, the exact colour for the hallway, lounge and kitchen. And yeah, all downstairs as well. So yeah, these last 3 rooms to get done in this. So what I'm doing is running around, so cutting all the walls you can see. So now that centre section there is now ready for a roller. You can see coming across the head there. So I just want to show you how to cut in when it comes to doing the colour. So obviously now I'm meeting the finished ceiling, so we can't just go and blat it like we did the ceiling coming onto the wall. I'll just get myself comfortable here and perch. Ooh, bit of calisthenics, nice. So 3-inch brush, just like that. There you go. Right, so just gonna start a bit lower, all right? Just to kind of get rid of some of the excess off it. And then all you're gonna do is pull the tips of the brush across your ceiling line, just like that. Okay? There's plenty on there, so it's gonna get you a little way. And then that is it. Done. I'll show you again, because it's a video and I can. So, hopefully you can see that. Just start a bit lower and then bring the brush up to where you need it. A little bit of pressure on the brush. Done. And that is all it takes. Now, it looks easy, like I said, I've been doing it for a long time. It's kind of getting the feel for this stuff, okay? The other thing that really helps is A, buy yourself a half decent brush because cheap brushes are crap and they're cheap for a reason. The second thing is that the paint I'm using is trade paint, so I knock it up or knock it down basically with 20% water. So, you know, for a 5 litre tin, I'm sort of taking about that much like that in water, adding that, mixing it in so that actually you can get a pull on it and you can actually get it on nicely. Because if you try to use it straight out of the tin, it's as thick as anything and you're never going to get a nice decent cut with it. Plus it's not going to go as far and it's actually designed to be watered down very slightly. So that is my top tip. So what I'll do is I'm going to cut the whole lot all the way around. When it comes to hitting the skirting, kind of working downwards, so where the ceiling was able to hit the walls a little bit, when I cut the skirting, you can just see down here, I've just lipped it onto the skirting just a little bit. And then that means when my satin goes and I've got a nice crisp line of yellow to cut up against. So yeah, down there, you can hit it a little bit. Edge of the door frame, go ahead, hit that little bit as well. Happy days, no bother at all. So I'm gonna get it cut and then I'll show you me rolling. I'm gonna change tack a bit. So I had a 12-inch on the ceiling because I've got like 3 ceilings to do. So the wider one, perfect. For the walls, because it's literally, let's say, that bit, That's the biggest wall there. And then just around the doorway, I'm just gonna get a 9-inch roller out and just use that in it. I'll keep it live for doing these 3 bedrooms and I'll just sling it afterwards. So yeah, so done and dusted. So I'm gonna cut it in a bit and then I'm gonna have another cup of tea. I'm worth it. It's come along nicely. Check it out. Oh yeah. So here we go. This is a 9-inch roller, so I'm partway through this wall. What we're gonna do is load it up. You can load it up quite a lot. What you want to do is load up so it's not dripping and falling off the bloody thing, but you know, there's quite a nice little amount on there. Then simply work one area at a time. So I'm just doing like a little sort of quartery zone, because it's just a small roller. If this is like a 12-inch, I'll just black the whole thing from top to bottom, but I'm gonna do it like this instead. So do a nice little section like that. What you're doing is make sure you don't need tram lines. By tram lines, I mean, let's see if I can get one. Stuff like that, okay? Can you see that? If I get that down, you see that little knobbly bit? We don't like that. So just make sure you get rid of all of those as you're kind of running through. Okay? Go for a nice smooth finish. Load up again. And then just do the bottom. Working it nicely. Remember, it's not a race. Just do it at your own pace. You just layer it off where you need to. And then sometimes you get little snots, which is basically just the roller like letting out a bit of fluffiness because it's brand new. Just pick those out. And that is literally it. So work a little section at a time, keep it neat, do the bottom, job done. If you was using a big roller and using a big scull, which is also a big word for me, you know, you can just go floor to ceiling, across, boom, sort of 3 runs, and then go back to it and just give it a little lick over just to finish it. But like I say, little roller, because there's not a lot of rolling in here, so let's do it nicely. But that's how you roll a wall with one of these bad boys.